Welcome back to another episode of the Spa Business Mastery Podcast. I'm Delia, and I am here with Kirsten Foss for another episode of our marketing podcast. And today we want to dive into a challenge that many spa owners are facing, and it's breaking into the world of online sales so that you can scale your e-commerce. So today we want to talk about spa e-commerce mastery and the reason you can't grow your e-commerce business. So we've been hearing from a lot of frustrated spa owners who offer amazing services in retail in their brick and mortar locations. But what they're really struggling with is to tap into the potential of online sales. And so, the spa owner's dilemma is, Kirsten, do you want to talk a little bit
absolutely.
about spa owner's
Because
dilemma?
it's so tricky and it's so frustrating because the spa industry has primarily kind of come up and grown up as majorly, service based, right? And so, within the last decade, e-commerce has grown, and particularly in the spa industry. But, the challenging piece is that, a lot of spa owners think just putting up an e-commerce store, then it's a build it and they will come. And it's just not like that anymore. Like the build it and they will come kind of mentality, it's just like when the spa industry first started, like how many, 30 years ago? You could literally build a spa and you would be busy, but that only lasted for a short period of time. So now we're here, 2023, we've got our brick and mortar and then trying to leverage the brick and mortar with e-commerce. But it's kind of crickets, right? What you've been doing for your brick and mortar business isn't the same kind of marketing you need to do for your e-commerce business. So the organic social media, the organic, all the organic marketing, you can do all the organic marketing you can, and you're still going to have a slow, gradual growth process in your e-commerce. So the dilemma is I need to leverage my spa business, or, especially if you're booked fully with your services, we need to leverage the retail because that's how we make money in the spa industry. Right. So that's where the dilemma comes is I don't know how to grow this e-commerce business because it's so different than building a brick and mortar. So that's why Delia and I want to talk about this today, because it literally is a dilemma. Spa owners do not know what to do about this.
Well, and we have one client who is a solo esthetician. She's completely booked out for, months in advance, and she has an online store. And while she's got her regular clients, purchasing their products when they need to replenish, maybe they can't make it into the spa, she's looking to expand that because how do you increase your revenue if you're already fully booked, right? And so she gets really excited when somebody, who isn't one of her clients actually purchases something online, and it makes her really excited. So, we've just had to develop a different strategy for her actual e-commerce sales so that she can start to expand.
And I guess the one thing I didn't mention in this dilemma is, you can definitely sell, your e-commerce stuff to your existing clientele. But the biggest issue is like, how do you break out of that circle of your existing clientele to reach new consumers? So, I know a lot of spas are like, they're seeing the big brands or even the medium-sized brands being able to break through and reach new people. And they're, spa owners, the brick and mortar spa owners are just like scratching their head going, I don't understand.
They don't. So, the reality of it for spa owners is that, your e-commerce success is often a numbers game. So basically, the more visitors you get onto your site equals more sales. But the big question is that, okay, that's great, but how do you attract that volume? And so, like Kirsten said, you have to recognize that e-commerce is not just an extension of your physical spa, right? But it's its own business. And so it's going to come with its own unique challenges and opportunities. And I think the big piece to that is breaking through a crowded digital space. Like everybody is online, right?
Oh my God.
Everybody. Like I think I have 25 emails today, like just in the last hour, from like, it's just everybody is in a digital space, right? So, breaking through that online noise is really a common challenge. And so this is where what we want to talk about today, this is where ads become a really powerful tool. So whether you're doing social media advertising or Google ads, we know that, we just want to clarify here. We know that if you've been looking into paid advertising, we know that it's expensive. So we just want to wrap your head around, why it's important and why it's a good opportunity to invest in paid ads. It's kind of similar. You have to think about it like just how you invested in your spa business. You had to put your time and your money into your spa business when you first started your business, and you had to do that in the beginning of your brick and mortar. So the same thing applies to your e-commerce sales. It needs a different strategy, and it needs a little bit more TLC than just kind of putting your products on there and hoping for the best that people are going to purchase.
Well, so, yeah, and Delia, I would actually even say it doesn't need TLC. It needs full on.
It needs full on
strategy. Like
yes, it needs full on strategy. That's my my word for get it going.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, it's really important to get to that level is leveraging paid ads so that you can improve your online sales. And so, we want to talk about what the benefits of that are. So what you'll get initially is immediate visibility. And that's super important because, I know most spa owners are like, I want it now, right? So that paid ads is a quicker way for more of an instant solution to your dilemma, right? So,
and that, it's kind of the answer to that question of like, how do I break out of my existing clientele?
Yeah.
You need more eyeballs on your business and your products, period. Number one.
Yeah. So, and that acts as, kind of like a shortcut, an easier way so that people can, see your products that you're showcasing, and it can go directly to a targeted audience, right? So it contrasts with like the gradual nature of organic methods, where with paid ads, it's more of an instant, immediate result that you'll be getting. Again, it still needs to have its own strategy to it. So it's not like, you just put together an ad and everything's going to come together. But when it's done right, you will get that immediate visibility.
Absolutely. And on top of the immediate visibility, what's amazing about ads that you can't get with organic marketing is massive targeting of an audience and reach. So, you got to pay to play when it comes to social media and, any kind of browsers, Google. Yeah. And so this is where you want to have that strategist that knows what they're doing so they can get that targeted audience correct. Because if you don't have the correct targeted audience, you're going to get people just commenting and liking from like around the, somewhere that's not even relevant. Like
exactly.
Yeah. And then that gets expensive. And that's one of those reasons why if you do your own targeting, you can really mess it up, and you can spend a lot of money
on the wrong
targeting
things.
The right people.
and those platforms will spend your money on targeting the wrong people if you don't have it set up properly.
Yeah. So so we've got immediate visibility, you get targeted audience reach. Then you also get, strategic budgeting with paid ads. So, while they will spend your money as quickly as possible, they do also offer some flexibility in your budgeting. So, you'll still need to have a substantial line item for your budget, your marketing budget when it comes to doing ads. But what we're saying is that in the world of advertising, it's actually fairly strategic in budgeting in terms of a smaller business being able to compete with that, targeted audience and reaching that visibility.
Well, and the good thing about, and Google and Facebook, Meta, they will spend your money, right? So if you set up on the back end and you don't know the little intricacies that, go on with getting that audience to where you want it to be, it can spend your money on things that are irrelevant, right? So that's where you can overspend on it for sure without getting results. But when you've got that piece in there that's going to help target that audience, then you're going to start to see.
It's that, again, it's that strategy in the ads development. This is one piece of it, strategic budgeting.
Budgeting, yes, yes. And you need to be strategic with it. And the thing with when you've got an ad strategist is they're watching that, right? So they can very quickly see, oh, that budget is actually being overspent in areas that we don't want it. So we need to make some adjustments. And when you do work with somebody who is running your ads for you, those are some of the things that they're actually working on a regular basis, right, behind the scenes. So it's easier for them to be able to identify those types of little pieces that need
nuance.
adjustment.
It's the nuances in there. Like, you
Yeah.
and I know a lot about marketing, but you know more about it than I do, even like kind of getting into this. And even you who knows a lot about it gets into like the Google ads and the Facebook ads. And it's like, whoa, there's a lot of little tweaks and, pieces here that are very overwhelming, which leads to the next point.
Right. Well, another benefit of paid ads is it's data-driven decision making, right? And so we know that you don't like data analytics, kind of it's I get it, exactly. But this is why you want a professional ad strategist. So data-driven decision making is looking at your analytics tools, and you're looking at real-time data on your ad performance. So that gives us the ability to track metrics like click-through rates. So we want to make sure that people are actually clicking on our ads, your conversion rate. So once they've clicked on an ad, we want to make sure that, the way that we've got it set up is actually making those conversions. So people are turning into, they're purchasing and they're buying retail on your e-commerce. And it also helps to give you a better return on investment, because when you can really identify what's working and what's not, it helps you to be able to start optimizing some of your strategies, and they're called ad sets. So you would have different ad sets, and you can see with that data what's working and what's not. And it's not always a bad thing to have data of what's not working, right? So this is where an ad strategist would come in, and they'd say, okay, we need to make some adjustments here and there based on the data. And we always follow the data because we know that it doesn't lie, right? So,
well, and this is kind of where spa owners traditionally, in my experience, struggle with, the feelings part of their business and the actual real data part of their business. And
exactly.
you gotta pair them together. And because we know that most spa owners hate data, hate crunching numbers, hate doing all the fine tuning of things. This is why do not do your own ads. Just don't, unless you love all of this.
And I know a lot of, there's different ways of doing, I'll talk about, Facebook ads, for example. There's like on-page ad where you can boost one of your posts, right? But when you actually go into your ads manager, there's a whole bunch of different options in there. So, one's just going to be a lot more detailed versus one kind of just on the surface. So knowing, when to boost a post, or when you actually really need to go on the back end and really start tweaking, your audience and things that
I think
want your ideal clients to.
Yeah. And I think what we're talking about today is how to really break through in your e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to break through in your e-commerce business, definitely don't be doing the boost posts. You need a longer term strategy for this kind of e-commerce growth.
And that's what I mean. I see a lot of people just boosting their posts, thinking that, oh, that's good enough. But again, they're not yielding those results.
You're kind of throwing money at a problem that you can't control. So
exactly.
Stop throwing money at that.
So the other benefit of ads is that you get to compete with the industry giants, right? So often we face a tough, especially in the spa industry, it's a tough competition from the larger beauty brands, right? So with paid advertising, it gives us a little bit more leverage and in the playing field, right? So it allows for smaller spas to be able to compete online. And again, we need that effective targeting. But with that, even small businesses can capture the attention of new customers, new sales, alongside of those industry giants. We're never going to be able to outcompete them. Their budgets are just way too high. But you can become a presence, within your community, and you can be showing up, on Google as number one, and people are going to be more compelled to do business with you, right? So it does give smaller businesses an opportunity to play with the big kids, right?
Yeah, which is, it's kind of fun to see what you can do with that. And like you said, you're never going to be able to completely compete with the big players, but I love that ads at least give you all a fighting chance for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to compete up against them. So sometimes it's like you are competing. Yes, there's the big giants up there, but you may be in an area where you've got tons of spas, right? So maybe you're oversaturated. And how do you compete with that? Well, online ads, you can bid against your competitors. It's an easy strategy to be able to come up with, and that way you're kind of coming up first before they are.
So the other thing we love about paid ads when it comes to e-commerce and kind of breaking through the ceiling of where you're at is that they give really fast results. Like, they give faster results, way more than organic could ever do. And so just for that, again, we're talking about investing in a part of the business. And we're talking about investing in part of the business like you did at the beginning, there's a bit of time where there's going to be a little bit of a lag, right? Yeah. So it's not like you put out an ad and you're instantly going to get, sales from that. There's usually a strategy that kind of warms the audience up. Maybe you even they have to figure out your audience, right? So, but either way, ads really speed up the process of your e-commerce growth strategy.
And the other good thing about ads is that it's a learning tool, right? So the more you teach it, the better it's going to become. And so that's like another really great little nugget that ads do. So it can start to learn very quickly and very easily about who your target audience is, what you don't want, what you do want. And you can manipulate that through your strategy as well. And then the last one that we want to talk about, and it kind of piggybacks onto the data, it's the adaptability and optimization. So you can adapt and you can change and you can tweak your ad strategy if it's not getting the results that you want, and you can do that pretty quickly so that you can optimize. And again, that just makes sure that it just ensures that your budget's being allocated to the most effective campaigns, and we want to make sure that we are maximizing that budget, so allocating it again to the right place. And again, it kind of helps to navigate a lot of the complexities that an e-commerce store can have, so that you guys can survive and thrive online, especially in that competitive market.
Absolutely. Yeah. We know it's the e-commerce piece for spas has been a bit of a struggle. But I think both Delia and I can agree on the fact that it usually is a struggle because they're treating their e-commerce business like the same as their brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Or almost off the side of their desk. It's like a little side hustle. And if you hear anything about today, it's that we want you need to treat your e-commerce business as its own business with its own strategy that is separate but dovetails with your brick and mortar.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to constantly be like, effort, but nothing really getting going from it. Yeah. So, this is kind of like heads up, people. Like, if you really want to get your e-commerce going, the only way to get that going quickly is with paid ads, right? So the other piece that we know is it's really, really tough to find a good ad strategist. I mean, people don't give out their ad strategist name because it's kind of like your esthetician. I've heard from estheticians that people don't want to, refer them because they don't, they still want to be able to get in with them all the time, yeah, right? Exactly. So we have a stellar ad strategist that we're working with. And so if you need support with your e-commerce platform and you're ready to be like, okay, I understand, I get it, I need to make its own strategy, then I highly recommend reaching out to Delia and booking a get acquainted call with her. It'll be with her and the ad strategist that we have. We're going to keep their name quiet, because that's our little, like, they're in our back pocket for our success. But we would love to share that with you if we're working together. So you can email Delia at kirstenfoss.com. That's DELIA at kirstenfoss.com. Or you can DM us on any of our social platforms, or leave a comment. We'll be happy to get right back to you and can kind of get started talking about things. That Get Acquainted call is really just to get an idea of where you're at with your e-commerce, for you to hear about what Delia and our ad strategist how they would work with you, and then give you some, send you a proposal for what it would look like moving forward. So I highly recommend that for you if you're ready to get it moving.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Spa Business Mastery podcast. And Kirsten will be back in a few weeks with the business podcast. And again, if you have any comments, you can send us a DM, or you can send us an email, or leave any questions in our comments. And we look forward to seeing you again.
See you then. Bye.